Hi, I'm Zoe, and in this video we're going to be doing a conditioning workout that you can use on its own or as a warm-up for your dance practice. And it's going to get into your whole body, a lot of core, legs, hips, a lot of stretching and strengthening exercises. All you need is a mat, and there are a couple exercises that use a TheraBand. So if you do have one, that's great for those, although you don't need a TheraBand. You can just do it without or use a scarf or something. And I like to wear knee pads for this workout series. There's a bunch of exercises where we're on our hands and knees. So again, nice to have, but not a requirement. So you mostly just need a mat. So let's get started. So we're going to come to the edge of our mat, and we're going to start nice and easy, taking a nice deep breath in through the nose as our arms come up, and then exhaling through the mouth as we start to fold forward. You can bend your knees here, just let your head hang, and then you are going to extend your back, so coming halfway up, and then exhale to fold over as you come down. Again, inhale, stretching the back up, and exhale, folding down. Now inhale to come all the way up, arms up, exhale, and we're going to fold over again, just getting our breath going, warming up the body. Inhale to come halfway up, and exhale through the mouth, coming back down. And again, inhale, maybe starting to stretch our legs a bit more here. Exhale to come down, and inhale all the way up, arms up. And last time, exhale, folding over, trying to straighten the legs fully here if you can. Breathing in, halfway up, spine long, and exhaling, folding down. One more time, breathing in, exhaling, folding down. From here, place your hands on the mat, walk one leg back, and then let the other one come to meet it. We'll come to downward facing dog for 5 breaths here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth, letting your heels reach back towards the mat as your fingers reach forward and your spine stretches long, letting the energy flow through your body, just warming everything up here. And breathing. Good. Pushing away from the hands, giving a nice stretch. One more breath here. Deep inhale and exhale. Good. Come forward into a plank pose here. So long spine. Good. And then gently drop the knees down to the mat, followed by the chest and then the chin. Point your feet and just bring your chest up just a little bit, opening and coming back, pushing up to our downward facing dog again. Now here, you're going to gently bend one knee and straighten the other, warming up those calf muscles. Good. Pushing away from the hands, fingers spread out wide on the mat. Just a couple more here. Good. Now both heels down, and again, come forward into that high plank here. And now, if you can, bend your elbows and lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Point the feet, hands under the shoulders, and push up, shoulders down, stretching that spine. Coming back one more time into our downward facing dog. From here, Lift one leg up. Think of extending from the hip. Turn that leg out. And now, if you can, bring the leg around to touch the floor, opening your arm up, really opening the body, getting a nice stretch all along the front of the body here. And just enjoying this, holding it for a bit, and slowly turn yourself back around, hinging around that hip to center, leg up one more time, and back down. Good, bring the other leg up. Again, turn the hip out, and let that leg come over the side as the arm comes up, reaching, opening up the front of the body, also opening up that shoulder. This is great for the shoulder. Breathing here, and coming back around, back to center, leg up and down, back to downward facing dog. Nice deep breath in here, and exhale. Come forward into the plank. Lower yourself all the way down. Push up, hands under shoulders, stretching that spine. And push yourself up into a hands and knees position. So in our hands and knees position, we are now going to inhale and arch the spine very gently. And now exhale as you curve the spine in, draw your chin to your chest. And again, inhaling as we arch the spine, exhaling as we curve. You may know this as the cat and cow movement from yoga. This is just a great way to warm up your spine and your breath. Again, always inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Just a few more here. Gently, but try to go through all your range of motion. One more time, arching and curving, drawing that chin in. Good. Come back to your all fours position. You want to have your hands right under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, and we want to think of keeping our spine long and our abs pulling in. So, as one of my Pilates instructors likes to say, you can imagine there's a cactus underneath your stomach, so you don't want to drop your stomach. And imagine you have a coffee cup sitting on your back. So again, you don't want to let that coffee cup sink. From here, we are going to lift one leg straight out and lift the opposite arm, again, straight forward. So think of extending your fingers away from the toes as much as you can. Don't let that stomach drop. Keep that spine long. And now bring your leg to the side, to 90 degrees. So really use that core strength here to hold yourself up. Just warming up those abdominals, breathing, stretching long. Good. And very gently bring the hand and the knee back down. Don't let them fall. And other side, other leg back long, hand reaching out front, starting to feel our core working here. And again, bring that leg out to the side, 90 degrees if you can, keeping that core active, reaching and breathing. Holding a few more seconds here. Try to keep that foot up and gently place the hand and the foot down. Good, we'll come back to that in a second. We're just going to do a little neck warm-up in between. So come to a kneeling position. I'll face you so you can see. First, let's make sure that our head is back and not reaching forward. So place your hands behind your head, push back into the hands, and feel the back of your neck lengthening. Now release your hands, keeping that same lengthened feeling. Gently look from side to side. So just warming up our neck muscles here. Something that's really important to do and is often overlooked. Gently, you can try to speed it up a little bit, but still always be gentle with your neck. Good. Coming back to center. Place your hands behind your neck and gently lower the chin down to the chest, stretching the back of the neck. And now, very slowly and not crunching the back of the neck, just lift the chin. So think of stretching the front of the neck, but don't crunch the back. And again, lowering the chin and lifting. Very gentle with this one. We always have to be really careful when we stretch our chin up. One more time. And up, coming back to center. Let's drop one ear to the shoulder, stretching the side of the neck. You can also take your hand from that same side and press down, and with your head, press up into the hand to get some extra resistance, and then allow yourself to stretch a little more. Good. Now, bring the head a bit up on the diagonal, and now down on the diagonal. This one is also really great. Stretching slightly different muscles in the neck. And roll your head around gently to the other side. Other ear to the other shoulder. Shoulders are relaxed here. Reaching down. Good. You can use that hand to press into the head. As the head presses into the hand, getting that resistance. And again, looking up on the diagonal and then down on the diagonal. Stretching those side back muscles of the neck. Good, and release the hand. Gently roll your head from side to side, going down in between. This is such a great neck warm up here, releasing all that tension. And now we're going to do a full roll all the way around. Again, being careful not to crunch the muscles in the back of the neck, going slowly here, just a couple times each side. Let's switch and go the other way. Just warming up the neck, getting our full range of motion activated. Wonderful. Come back to the hands and knees. Back to our ab exercise. As before, lift one leg out, and this time, lift the same arm. So this is going to be a little tricky. So leg and arm on the same side up. And again, try to bring that leg to the side. So you might have to adjust your position a bit here. This is really great, keeping that core warmed up here, holding just a little longer, breathing, keeping those abs activated. And gently bring the hand and the leg down. Let's do the other side. So leg out, arm on the same side out to the front, and bring that leg to the side, 90 degrees. Keep that spine long, keep those abs in, keep the head up, feeling those abs work. Also a little bit of arm work in here. Try to keep your hips over your knees, or the hip of the leg that's on the mat, and gently bring the leg and the arm down. Now, in our hands and knees position, now we're going to do a little more spine warm-up. So I want you to just release and then tuck your pelvis and lower back, keeping the upper back still. So just isolating the lower part of our spine here, just flexing and releasing. You can go a little faster if you want, and then do some circles. So just the lower spine and pelvis circling around. You can go the other way. Starting to warm up our spine from the bottom up. Now, hold that lower part of the spine still, and now flex and release the middle part of your spine. So behind where your ribs are, coming up and down, just warming up the spine. Again, you can start to go a bit faster here. And then circle the upper part of your back, circling both ways. This is really great for adding flexibility to that spine. Try to keep the lower back still here. And now we're going to stretch and release our neck here, coming forward and back. So just getting the top part of our spine, and then circle the neck. And go the other way, nice and loose here. And now we're going to work all three parts of our back in succession. So arching the lower, and then middle, and then neck, chin coming into chest. And then release in the same order, low, middle, neck. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So feeling all the different sections of your spine working here. 1, 2, 3. You can start to speed it up. Always moving from down to up. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then start circling everything nice and loose. And go the other way. Really warming up our whole spine here. Great job. So if you need to adjust your hair, do that. Otherwise, come to a seated position, sitting up tall, arms reach up, and reaching forward. Grab those feet. Just nice stretch now that we're a little more warmed up. Great. Now here, if you have a TheraBand, this is where we're going to use the TheraBand, just getting mine. So, bring one leg in, other leg is out. Here, take the TheraBand, wrap it around your foot so that it's covering the ball of your foot and the toes, holding it nice and tight. Flex the foot, and we're just going to point. And flex and point. So again, you do not need a TheraBand for this exercise, but it is good because it gives you that feedback and makes your foot work a little harder. You can also, again, use a scarf if you don't have a TheraBand. So we'll do about 10 of these, a couple more here. Point, flex, flex. Good. Now, keep the toes flexed. Point the ball of the foot. I'm keeping my toes flexed, and now I'm just going to point and flex the toes here. So just working those toes. You can go faster if you want. And a few more. And let's do the other side. So said this was a full body workout. We're getting all the parts of our body. So point that foot and flex. Point, flex, point, flex. Very important to work those foot muscles, especially if we want to be able to have nice, pretty pointed feet. This is really going to wake them up. One more. And again, keep the toes flexed, point the rest of the foot, and then just point and flex the toes. So just warming up those toes. Here we go. A few more. Great job. So that's all we need the TheraBand for. We are done with the TheraBand. We are going to move into a leg series. So having your legs turned out here, turned out from the hips, roll onto your back. Arms can be out to the side here. And keeping the legs turned out, we are just going to lift one leg and lower it a few times, trying to really keep those hips loose, lifting and lowering, using that core to help us. Let's switch and do the other side. So coming up and gently down here, just warming up those hips. A few more times. And now let's alternate. So one leg comes up, and then as it comes down, the other one. So up and down. This is also really getting into that core. Good. Now we're just going to take one leg up and then open out to the side and come around and then back up. So we're going to make a nice big circle with that leg. So this is, again, using your abs here, trying to relax the hips. Legs turned out the whole time. Couple more. Gently opening. Good. Let's reverse direction. So open to the side, come up and down. This is also getting into those inner thighs. So starting to get into the legs. Few more here. Side, up, down. Let's do two more. To the side, up and down. Side, up, down. Bring that leg up. It's still turned out. Grab it wherever you can. Holding. Flex and point that foot. As you're stretching the leg. Good. Let's do some ankle circles. So multitasking. Go the other way here. Warming up our ankle as we stretch that leg. Stretching the hamstring. Good. And now just hold the leg wherever you can. This is also a great stretch to do in parallel, but we are turned out right now. So stretching slightly different muscles. It's still the hamstrings, but it's a little more getting into the inner thigh muscles here. Holding just a little longer. You might also feel this a bit in your outer hip. And let's release and circle on the other side. So leg comes up, out to the side, and back in. Up, side, in. Just letting that leg travel around in the hip flexor, using our abs here. Nice, gentle circles. One more. Let's go the other way. Out to the side, coming in and down. Side, in, and down. Just go to wherever you feel is comfortable for you. This isn't about making the biggest circle you can. It's just about warming up your body and activating those muscles. One more, around and down. Bring that leg up, grab it wherever you can, and let's point and flex that foot. So making sure our feet are warm, and ankle circles. Ankles are also really important to warm up, like the neck. Can be very delicate, and yet we put so much weight on them. We need to make sure that they are flexible and strong. So hold that leg now, stretching those hamstrings. Other leg, think of extending along the floor, the leg that's down. So you want to be actively reaching away with that leg here. Good, and relax the shoulders. can be very easy to start tensing up in our shoulders. Just a little longer here. And release. Good. Bring both legs up. Again, turned out and just open to the side and come back in. So getting into our middle splits here. Opening those legs. Good. 2 more. And just hold out to the side. You can use your hands to press down. So this is a great way to stretch those inner thighs and improve your middle splits without putting any pressure on your knees or on your legs. So you're just letting gravity help you bring the legs to the side. This is also a great stretch to do up against a wall. If you want to do that at some point, just holding a little longer here. Good, and bring those legs back together and down. Good. Come to your side now. On the side, legs are still turned out, and we are just going to lift and lower our leg. So again, warming up those legs nice and loose in the hips. Abs are activated. Couple more. Good. And now bend that knee. Come to passe. We do a développé here and extend the leg. Grab it if you can and hold. So this is the leg section of the warm-up. Legs are very important for dancers. Just holding it, enjoying the stretch. Good, let's do the other side. So I'm just gonna turn my back facing you to do this side. So, legs turned out, and just bring that leg up and back down. Core is active here, hips nice and loose. 1 more, and bend that knee, stretch the leg up, grab it, and pull it into you. Getting a nice stretch along the inside of the leg. Breathing here, of course. Great job. So, coming back onto our backs, arms above your head, feet are still turned out. We're going to go into an ab series. So, reach the legs up, heels together here, and now trying to keep your lower back on the mat, lower those legs down just as much as you can while still keeping that lower back on the mat. You don't want to arch your back here. Then you're not going to be working the right muscles. So just coming up and down. This is a great exercise. I also do it a lot in Pilates. Coming up and down. Again, you don't have to go all the way down, just to wherever you can still keep that lower back on the mat. We'll do a few more. Let's do 4. Coming down. 3. Down. Keep those legs turned out as well, so working those. Last one. And coming down. Good. Legs are still turned out, but stretching long on the floor. We're going to do the roll up. So take a deep breath in, and then exhale as you start to bring your arms forward, peeling yourself off the mat, very slowly, starting from the upper back, and working your way down, bending forward over those feet, and then rolling back down the same way that we came up, 1 vertebra at a time. So lower back, middle back, and finally bring the arms back. Inhale, exhale as you come up, Nice and slow. Try to keep those feet on the floor, curving over. And as you come back, you can imagine you are holding on to something with your hands to really activate those core muscles. If this is too much, you can also bend your feet, bend your legs, and then as you come up, you can even hold on to your legs to help pull yourself up. That's also a great variation. And then again, coming down, holding onto the legs to go nice and slow, especially if you haven't done this exercise before. You can do that version and then work your way up to the full roll up. So again, rolling down one vertebra at a time and up, peeling yourself off the floor, trying to keep those feet on the mat. I know it's not easy. This is great for building that core strength. We'll just do a few more. So exhale as you come up. Again, trying not to use momentum to come up, but really trying to use those muscles. And last one, inhale and exhale to come up. Slow, working all your muscles. Reach forward and hold on to something. Imagine you're holding on to something as you come back. Great job. Okay, you might need to come a little bit forwards on the mat. That tends to bring us back. Now we're going to bend our legs. Hands come behind the head, and we are just going to, letting our head relax into the hands, lift that upper body, and now lift the legs to 90 degrees. Now feel the lower back on the mat, flat on the mat. Try to keep it there as you lower the legs. That should be a lot of core work. And then lower the upper body. So we're just going to do that, coming up with the upper body, up with the legs, keeping that lower back on the mat as we lower the legs, and then the upper body. Up, up, down, and down. So here we're getting both our upper and our lower abs, but this is especially a lot of work for those lower abs. Up, down, and down. Up, up, down. Keep the lower back on the mat. Down. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down. Good. Two more. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, and down. Good. Now we're going to do the crisscross exercise. So we are going to bend one leg, other leg is straight, bring the opposite elbow to that leg, and we're going to do 3 and hold. So 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So really getting our obliques. 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Reach that elbow towards the knee. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. Let's alternate. Just going each side. No stopping. Here. Really getting nice, strong obliques here. Just a few more. And then we're almost done with our ab series. And stretching the other leg long as we do this. 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Okay, roll over onto your stomach. Now we're going to stretch the other way. So arms down, shoulders down, and stretching that stomach, those abs we just worked. If you want and can, you can bring your feet together here, legs out to the side. So then you're also getting a nice hip stretch opening up as we stretch those abs. But if not, you can just have the legs out long. Great. Now come to the side. We're going to do one last oblique exercise. So lying on your side, you're just going to squeeze that oblique in and stretch it out. Squeeze in, stretch, squeeze, and stretch it out. Try to keep the feet together here. Make sure your foot isn't lifting off into the air. We want to really just focus on the obliques. And in and out. Good. Working those obliques. Let's do the other side. Come to the other side here. So, in and out. In, out, in, and out. This is also in my class warm-up workout video. This is really great for belly dancers. The obliques are really important, so it's a great exercise to be able to isolate them. Okay, great job. Coming back to our lying on our back position here. Now we are going to bring the feet right under your knees. Legs are parallel here. Arms on the ground and by your hips, hands by your hips. And we're going to tuck the pelvis in and then lift the pelvis off the floor and slowly peel the spine off the floor, vertebra by vertebra. So now we are going the other way from all that ab work. If you want, you can clasp your hands together underneath yourself to really open up those shoulders. So now we're opening up the front of the hips and the shoulders if you want. And just breathing here. Keep that pelvis reaching high, hips reaching up. This is also working our glutes and our quads. And release the hands. Let yourself roll down very gently, vertebra by vertebra, onto the mat. So a lot of spinal awareness here. Let's do that again. Tuck the pelvis in and slowly roll up. One vertebra at a time. Clasp the hands underneath yourself if you want to get an added shoulder stretch here. And just breathe. Push those hips up. Good. Release the hands and come back down one vertebra at a time. Very slowly. Wonderful. Bring the feet together and let the knees just fall out to the side. So again, getting into that hip opening. This is also a really good stretch for the hips that doesn't put pressure on your knees. If you have knee issues, then this is a great one to do. And it's also very relaxing. But do try to let those knees keep sinking towards the ground. So this is still an active stretch, even though we're relaxed. Good. And breathing. Great. Bring the legs back. Feet right under the knees here. Now, you can just do the same roll-up as before. Or, if you're up to it, hands under the shoulders and push up into a bridge. So, if you want to start doing cambrés and all of those fun things, this is a good exercise to prepare you for that. Really getting that back flexibility. Opening everything up, just holding here, pushing into the floor with your hands and your feet. Just a few more seconds in the bridge and lower yourself down slowly. Don't let yourself collapse, but gently lower yourself onto the ground. Wonderful job. Grab the insides of your feet and just roll around on your spine, enjoying this happy baby pose. After all that work we just did, great. Arms out to the sides, bring the knees together and drop the knees over to one side. Good. Try to keep the opposite shoulder on the ground. And you can look towards that shoulder. And if you want a really nice shoulder massage here, start moving that hand along the floor, trying to keep the shoulder on the floor as you do this. Move that hand up and down along the floor. That's a really great shoulder massage for you. Gently. Good, let's go the other way. Knees come to the side. Try to keep that opposite shoulder on the ground, and if you want, start moving that hand up and down along the ground. So relaxing. And also important to open up along the side. One more time. And come back to center. Great. Now we are going to go into a back series. So we're going to flip around onto our stomachs. Now you want to make sure that you are still turned out in the legs here. So heels together and reach your arms out long along the floor here. Pelvis down, and we are going to take a deep breath in. Exhale and come up from your upper back, lifting those arms. So this is a really intense workout for your back muscles. Really good for strengthening them. Just try to hold it for about 10 seconds. Doesn't have to be too long. It's very intense, I know. And bring those hands down. You can rest your forehead on the hands here. Just relaxing. We're going to do that again in a second, but it's fairly intense, so give you a chance to take a few breaths in between. Good. Let's reach those arms out long. We're going to do it again. So, breathing in, exhaling, and lifting your upper back off the floor. Try to keep the shoulders down. Try not to have too much tension in those shoulders. I know it's tough, but this is really good for building strong back muscles. For your arabesques in ballet, not belly dance arabesques, but ballet arabesques. This is a great exercise. And coming down, relaxing, breathing. Taking a quick break. And we're going to do one more set, but this time we are going to do fast. We're going to do 10 fast coming up and down. So reach those arms out long, take a deep breath in, exhale, and coming up and down, but not touching the ground as you come down, just so you're slightly hovering off the ground. Try to keep the feet flat on the mat as you do this. Just 2 more, up, down, up, hold it. You can do it. Good, and hands below your shoulders. Reach back into child's pose. Bring your hands beside your feet. Forehead on the mat. Oh, that's an intense one. So good job. It does get easier with time, I promise. Just let your back stretch here, enjoying the pose. Relax your stomach. And breathe. Good, let's come back to this position, lying on our stomachs. One hand on top of the other one. Forehead can rest on the hands. Make sure your legs are turned out here again. So heels touching. And you're going to take one leg, keeping both legs turned out, slide the leg along the floor, and now lift it. Think of extending as you lift. Bring it back to the floor and in. Again, sliding out, lifting and extending, down and in. Out, lift, down, in, out, lift, down, in. So this is, again, improving our hip flexibility, improving our turnout. Relax the shoulders as you do this as well. I find it very easy to have tension in the shoulders on this exercise. Let's do the other leg. So sliding it out, lifting and extending down to the floor and coming back in. Out, lift, down, and in. Out, lift, down, in, out, lift, down. Good. Both legs turned out the whole time. Down and in. 2 more. Out, lift, down, in, out, lift, down, in. Great job. Now, keeping the head lifted off of the mat, arms long in front. I want you to think of using your back muscles now so pull the shoulder blades together and bend the elbows to 90 degrees. Now think of keeping those shoulder blades pulled in as you reach the arms out long. And now 90 degrees again, arms out to the side, to the back, and forwards. We repeat the sequence. 90 degrees, forwards. 90 degrees, out, back, forwards. Using the shoulder blades and the back the entire time. And 90, forwards, 90, out, back, forwards, 90, forwards, 90, out, back, forwards. You can start to speed it up. So this is just getting us used to using those back muscles to move our arms. Just a few more sets here. Let's do 2 more. Great job. Come back to the child's pose. Here, reaching the hips back. Now take one hand behind your head. We are going to lift the other hand up. So getting a nice stretch across the front of our chest here. And you might also be feeling this in your upper arm and shoulder of the arm that's on the ground. Good, let's do the other side. So, one elbow on the floor, reaching that hand up. Nice stretch here. Good, and now come back to child's pose, this time with our hands staying in the front. You can actively reach forwards with those fingertips to really stretch out that spine. So hips reaching to the back and fingers to the front. Also think about widening the spine, so we're really stretching in all directions. Relax the neck, relax the face, relax the stomach. Just breathing, enjoying this pose. Great job. Come to your hands and knees. Now, reach the fingertips a little further than 90 degrees in front of you, so at an angle. And now we're just going to be arching our upper back. So arching and coming back, just the upper back. Getting some mobility here. Think you're like a cat. A few more times. Great job. So now we are going to be getting into the final part of this series, a leg and hip opening section. So come to a kneeling position and take one leg front, and you're going to turn that leg out. So push that heel forwards and start to fold your body forwards. You will start to feel this in your hamstring and in your outer hip here. So just getting a nice stretch in that leg. Pushing the heel forwards. Good. We're going to be going into our turned out splits in just a second. But first, we're going to prepare the body a little bit. So now bring that front leg to 90 degrees. So knee right over the ankle. Back leg comes off the ground. Heel in the air, just the toes. And we're just going to pulse down. So this is opening up that front hip flexor of the back leg. And this is a great warm-up. It's often not good to do kind of bouncy stretches, but this particular stretch is all right. And is good for warming up the fascia in front of our hip. Good, now coming back onto that back leg. Front leg is turned out and just slide down and back up here. So sliding, and then wherever you can, coming down. Doesn't have to be the full split, just hold it wherever you are. Again, this is a turned out split. So it's also important to do parallel splits in parallel, but in this case you get more of a stretch along your inner thigh as well. If you do make it into the full split, what I like to do is take that back arm, reach around, grab the thigh. So this is also good for opening the shoulder and the chest here. You can even circle that shoulder. I really like this one to get some shoulder mobility in there. I know my shoulders are always tense, so I like to do this while I'm doing my splits. Again, I love those exercises where you can multitask and do 2 stretches or exercises at once. So just holding this a little longer, because with splits, always important to hold them for at least 20 or 30 seconds, but ideally at least a minute if you can. So great job. Now shake out that front leg, and let's do the same thing on the other side. So kneeling, one leg forward, turned out, heel pushing to the front and folding forwards. Trying to keep the spine long here as we do this. We don't want to be arched. Think of pushing your hips back and your heel forwards to really start stretching that leg and the hip. Just a few more seconds here. Good job. Okay, let's come to 90 degrees on the front leg. Back heel in the air, back leg in the air, and pulsing down. Just getting into that front hip flexor here, which is a big key to the splits. Having those front hip flexors relaxed. A few more here. Good. Now coming back onto that back knee. Front leg turned out. And just slide down and back up. So gently getting into the splits. And come to wherever your farthest point is. And enjoy the stretch. If you are in the splits, as before, reach that backhand around. Try to grab onto the leg. And you can even do some shoulder circles, opening everything up. Breathe, of course. Breathing is very important when you're stretching, when you're doing anything. If you don't breathe, then you're going to find that you get tired a lot faster. And the exercises aren't going to be as effective because you need to have oxygen in your blood in order to be able to work your muscles to the full degree. So just enjoying the stretch here. Few more seconds. Good. Shake out that front leg. Now we're going to come to our middle splits. So I like to do this one in front of the mat because the mat is usually too sticky. So put your hands on the floor in front of you and gently, key is gentle here, let the legs come out to the sides to just wherever your body can. So middle splits definitely not my thing. Always been difficult for me, but with regular practice, they do improve. I know it's painful, but just try to relax as much as you can, stretching those inner thighs. If you do feel any sort of crunching or anything like that in your hips, that means you've gone too far and your body simply does not want to go further in the middle splits. So come up a little bit, come to wherever your body naturally can go. But you do want to be feeling the stretch in your inner thighs, insides of your hips. Yeah, I know this one's tough, but just hang in there. You can do it. We're almost done. Just a few more hip opening exercises here. Breathing, sinking, and rolling back to sit down. Now we're just going to stretch back the other way. So one leg bends in front, other leg bends back. Rest the opposite arm back on the ground and just enjoy a nice stretch here in the quad. So you want to be feeling the stretch along the quad of your back leg. I like to have my arm behind my head here. So think of pushing that back knee forwards and just get a nice stretch in the quad and the hip flexor, of course. Good, let's do the other side. So switch legs, resting that back arm back on the floor here, pushing this knee, the back knee forwards to get a nice stretch in the quad. Just enjoy it. You've done a lot of hard work so far. Almost done. Just a few more exercises. Breathing here. Good. Let's come to a straddle position. So again, wherever you can do it, if it has to be here, it has to be here. Wherever your legs naturally go, reaching out long to the side, and now reach out long along this side of your body, and now reach the arm up and over, stretching the side of your body. Good. Now try to turn to lift the chest to the ceiling, so really opening that back shoulder here, and come back to the side, but think of keeping that opening feeling in your upper body as you come to the side. So it can be really easy to start to turn the body, and when we start to do that, then we lose the full impact of the stretch. So you want to stay open in this stretch. Good. Coming up, let's do the other side. So just side to side, and then over, thinking long on the bottom side, and then reaching long along the top side. So it's not about trying to bring your hand to your foot, it's about stretching the side of the body as long as you possibly can. Great job. Again, lift the chest to the ceiling, so opening up here, opening that back arm, and try to keep that open feeling as you come back to the side. You should feel a more intense stretch along your side this time. Good. Breathe into the stretch. Just enjoy. Make sure to keep that opposite hip on the ground, stretching away from it. Good. Come back to center. Now, if you can, hands come front and start gently falling onto the hands. Very carefully here though, and then if you can, reach yourself up, crawl forward, and we are back in our middle splits. So yeah, we weren't quite done with that one. One more time here. Getting into those middle splits, opening the hips and the inner thighs. You can do it. Good. Breathing. Good. And rolling back. Okay, for these next exercises, if you have knee issues, you can go back on your back, do the straddle, or do the straddle up against a wall, lying on your back, or with your legs opening out to the side. You can do this one sitting up or lying down. But if your knees are okay, come to the front here, front of your mat, so knees in front of the mat, and you want to have your feet directly behind your knees. So trying to have our legs at 90 degrees as much as possible. Come down onto your arms, and again, we are just opening up our hips, letting ourselves sink here, and stretching those inner thighs. So this is pretty intense. Again, if you feel any sort of knee pain, do not do this exercise. Do some of those other exercises for opening the hips. But if your knees are okay, this is very effective for opening those hips. Just holding. Good. Now come back a little more. And again, if your knees are okay here, you are going to have the knees out to the side and try to touch the feet behind you. I'll turn to the side so you can see. Here. So the frog stretch, you do not need to have your feet on the ground. For me, that's definitely impossible. Try to keep the hips on the ground though. So this is really good for opening the hips. And you can also start to open one leg to the side, bring it back to center. Out to the side, other leg, and back to center. So that's also really going to help open up those hips by working on your mobility. And just hold it, sinking the pelvis down into the ground. You can do it. Just a few more exercises and we are done. Good job. Pushing the pelvis down. Couple more seconds. Great. Come to a seated position here. Last few exercises. So feet together and in fairly close. This is the butterfly stretch, at least that's how I've known it. Sitting up tall and letting your knees drop to the sides. So we are getting into the our inner thighs and our outer hips. So just holding this one, trying to drop the legs down. Good, and now we are going to move the feet a little bit further in front of us and the hips back. And now, sit up tall, have your elbows right about where your knees are, lean forward and push the elbows down into the knees. And now you're really going to start to feel it in your outer hips. So this is a fantastic stretch. Try to keep the spine long here. Try not to round. Breathing. Enjoying the stretch. You've earned it. Good. And last set. Legs out even further. Try to grab onto the feet here and reaching forward. And you will feel such a stretch in the outside of your hips. This is very intense, but in a good way, I would say. So just getting into those very outer hip muscles. So I like this series of the 3 stretches because each one is getting a slightly different muscle group. So it's great to do all 3. enjoying the stretch, breathing, and coming up. So that is it. That is the workout. If you want, I always do my arm series right after this to get the arms in as well. So you can go check out that video. I'll link it and as well put a link in the description box. So if you want to get your arms in, go do that video. It's about 10 minutes. It's not that long. And then you will have a true full body workout. But otherwise, you did a great job. You got the core, the legs, the hips, the back, almost everything. So you should be ready to go for your practice session if you want to do that now, or just get on with your day and feeling like your muscles are nice and strong and warmed up and ready for whatever the day may bring. So I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a like, share with any friends who may enjoy it as well, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and happy practicing.